Hey friends, it's Crystal Lee Moore Lucier here, also known as your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor, Crystal Lee Moore, and this is day 11 of our RealtorLife 30-day challenge. So, already day 11, very exciting. I said that yesterday's outdoor activity was skiing, and today I went for a beautiful walk around Blue Mountain Village and did not listen to the podcast on the walk, but listened to it afterwards, and it was really good stuff. So today we're going to be listening to a great podcast by Rob Dial on mindset, and it is on the importance of stress and understanding the good, the bad, and the ugly. But before we move there, let's talk about Brianna Wiest and the pivot year and day 11's message. You do not have to be grateful for everything in your life. You do not have to be grateful for what you survived, for what you didn't know, for the lessons learned too hard. You do not have to be grateful for the unfairness, to live in a world that does not value dignity the way it should, a world that has lost its soul. But even in the midst of the storm, when you stumble upon a glimmer of appreciation, I hope you will hold on to that. I hope you will know that it is as real as anything else. I hope you will offer it as much attention as you give. I hope you will remember that silver linings foretell of the light of day that will come. I hope you will know that just because you are not grateful for all of it doesn't mean that you aren't grateful for any of it. I hope you will allow yourself to contain more than one truth, that not every phase of your life will tell the same story, that not every piece of this existence will flow congruently to the last, that more is possible even if the past did not show you that it is, that our greatest dreams and our deepest fears may coexist, and the existence of one does not negate or lessen the other, that the very moment that you honor where you are with a complete surrender, you open to the next experience life wants to offer. This is really important because sometimes I've talked to a lot of people that struggle with this, and gratitude is such a big part of life and such a big part of the journey on as an entrepreneur or as even as a person, but it really has to be from the heart. And so sometimes I know I've talked to people and it seems like such a simple concept, like just be grateful, but sometimes you just can't find it, and it does need to be an emotion. So what Brianna is saying there is just the second you feel a glimmer of gratitude, hang on to it, because that gratitude will grow, and it really is a huge part of what helps us appreciate life, and it makes life more fulfilling. It makes colors brighter, lights more, also brighter, whatever it is. It really is such an important part of life. But I like the advice that you don't have to be grateful for everything. It basically is an option. And so today's awesome podcast, it's on the Mindset Mentor with Rob Dial, and this one was on stress. So as always, the link is going to be in the description, but this is a great podcast on the importance of understanding the different types of stress and why they're good and why we actually need them, but how to identify what's good and what's bad. So the first stress is called eustress, and it's the normal kind of, I would say, like the catalyst that makes you do things. So it's the type of thing that you will feel on a roller coaster, or you'll feel on the day that, like for this, we're on day 11, you get to check off every day, like that feeling of motivation growing, that is eustress. Kind of if you have a great session at the gym, if you have a great client meeting, if you sell a house and it was fantastic, like that's the type of eustress. And it really is, I would say it's like a growth stress. It's good. The opposite of that, I think, is hypostress. So the hypostress is, it's actually a stress because nothing is happening. It's like this stagnant boredom. And a lot of people experience this in COVID, day after day after day. You're just not growing. You're not learning. It's the same thing. Nothing's different. We want variety. We want challenges. And when you feel the stress, it can be very demotivating, demoralizing. Instead of realizing that it's a stress, we can actually realize that it's horrible. Like, it actually is almost like a toxic thing. So the goal is to find things that do challenge you, that you do like, that are important to you, and it changes everything. And then there's hyper stress. So the stress, when we think of stress, this is it. This is you're overextended, you are exhausted, you are trying to do everything, you're taking everything too seriously. You don't think, like, there's no concept of don't sweat the small stuff. You're sweating everything, and you're exhausted. You just can't do it anymore, and it's just, something's got to give, man. And that's I'd say I'd call that the bad stress. Interestingly enough, there is a really cool, Mel Robbins has, I think it's her podcast or a book, or at some point she talks about it. I think it's in her 5-second rule, but that the stress you feel when you feel anxious is the exact same stress you feel, like, as far as a brainwave view, I guess, when you're excited. So when you think you're just afraid, you could literally trick yourself into telling your brain that you're excited, because they're the same feelings, just, I guess, packaged differently. So I think that's a really cool concept for those of us that have a lot of anxiety, and I find stress and anxiety come together. So if we can shake that fear and realize that fear is, what does Tony Robbins say? False evidence appearing real. It can really help. And I think so many young people now really need this. I mean, we all need it, but fear and, like, the threat of something that hasn't happened yet is so real. And if we don't have those coping skills, or we don't understand it, and we don't realize that it is part of life, then it's just not good. So this was only a 20-minute episode today. So I'm going to recommend that if you have time, when you get back, or if you're taking notes, just maybe write down a few of your own examples of when you feel the good stress, when you feel the bored stress, and when you feel the bad stress, and how can you overcome it. So it might be going right back to our day one, let them. I've been using this for the duration of this challenge so far, and it's actually really helpful. So as far as just, like, I want to be my best self, I want to be positive, I want to be, like, radiating joy and all these things, not in a fake way, but in a legit way. And part of that process has been letting people be not in a great mood if I want them in a great mood, or letting them not choose me. If I want them to work with me, I'm going to give them my best, and if it's not me, then that's okay. And it is really freeing, because then I can spend the time with the people that are excited to work with me, the people that are, like, excited to have fun. And it really is just a game changer. So always learning, always growing. And I think it's encaro and paro. I am still learning. And it's just such a cool ride to be on together, guys. So day 11 of our Realtor Life 30-day challenge. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. And we will see you on day 12. Thanks, guys.